The Galactic Council had one universal rule that every species understood: never underestimate a human's capacity for the impossible. Thor learned this lesson the hard way on Station Epsilon 7, a floating marketplace at the edge of the Andromeda spiral where traders, smugglers, and mercenaries from 1,000 worlds converged. He was a Draxian warrior, 7 feet of scaled muscle and battle-hardened instinct with mandibles that could crush tritanium and reflexes that made him legendary among his people. For 3 decades, he had never missed a target, never hesitated in combat, and never, absolutely never, been caught off guard. Until he met River. She walked into the station's central bazaar like she owned the place, her leather jacket worn over a simple tank top, boots that had seen more star systems than most ships, and an expression of casual amusement that immediately set Thor's combat sensors tingling. Humans were rare this far out in the frontier, especially human women traveling alone. They were either incredibly stupid or incredibly dangerous. Thor had encountered enough of them during the human integration wars to know that stupidity was rarely the answer. River was browsing the weapons stall across from Thor's position when the shooting started. A pack of wreck pirates, 6 of them, armed with pulse rifles and bad intentions, burst through the eastern airlock, firing indiscriminately into the crowd. Civilians scattered like leaves in a solar wind. Thor's hand moved to his plasma pistol with the fluid motion of decades of training. His first shot vaporized a Wreck's weapon. His second took down another pirate before he could execute a cowering merchant. That's when Thor noticed River hadn't moved. She stood perfectly still in the center of the chaos, one hand casually resting on her hip, watching the firefight with the detached interest of someone observing a mildly interesting weather pattern. A Wreck swung his rifle toward her, finger tightening on the trigger. Thor's weapon was up before conscious thought engaged. He fired a plasma bolt, not at the Wreck, but past River's head, close enough that the superheated energy should have singed her hair, far enough that it wouldn't kill her. It was a warning shot, the kind that said, "Move now or die." What happened next would haunt Thor's dreams and become a legend whispered in bars across 3 sectors. River's hand snapped up with impossible speed. Her fingers closed around the plasma, bolt mid-flight. The actual bolt, a contained packet of star-hot energy that should have burned through flesh and bone like paper. She held it there, suspended in her palm, the purple-white energy crackling and spitting sparks between her fingers. The entire bazaar fell silent. Even the wreck pirates froze, their alien faces registering the universal expression of what the fuck. River examined the plasma bolt with clinical curiosity, tilting her head as if considering its quality. Then she looked directly at Thor across the crowded marketplace, made eye contact that felt like a targeting lock, and smiled. She blew him a kiss. Then she threw the plasma bolt back, not at Thor, at the wreck who had been about to shoot her. The energy discharge hit the pirate square in the chest and sent him flying backward into a fruit stand, unconscious before he hit the ground. The remaining pirates lasted approximately 15 seconds. River moved like liquid violence, every motion economical and devastating. She disarmed one wreck with a joint lock that shouldn't have worked on their anatomy but somehow did. Another went down when she used his own momentum to slam him into the deck plating hard enough to crack his exoskeleton. The last 3 decided retreat was preferable to whatever this human was, and fled back through the airlock. The entire fight lasted less than a minute. Thor stood frozen, his plasma pistol still raised, his combat computer struggling to process what his eyes had just witnessed. In 30 years of warfare, he had seen humans do remarkable things. He had seen them survive wounds that would kill any other species. He had watched them charge into impossible odds and somehow win through sheer stubborn refusal to die. But he had never seen one catch a plasma bolt with bare hands. River walked over to him, stepping carefully around unconscious pirates and terrified civilians. Up close, Thor could see that her eyes were an impossible shade of blue, like Earth's oceans in the historical archives. She wasn't even breathing hard. "Nice shot," she said, her voice carrying the lazy drawl of someone from Earth's North American continent. "Little close for comfort, but I appreciate the warning." Thor's mandibles clicked involuntarily, a Draxian stress response. "How?" The word came out more like a growl than a question. "Plasma burns at 40,000 degrees. Your hand should be vapor. River held up her palm, showing not even a hint of a burn mark. Yeah, about that. You know what they don't tell you in the integration briefings? Humans have been playing with physics for a long time. We've had neural augmentation, quantum reflex boosters, and localized kinetic dampeners for about 200 years now. Most of us just don't advertise. She tapped her temple. Reaction time measured in microseconds. Personal shield generators woven into my skin at the molecular level, and a really, really good danger sense. You caught a plasma bolt, Thor repeated as if saying it again would make it make sense. I've caught worse. River's smile widened into something predatory. 3 years ago, I caught a micro-singularity that a Zephron assassin threw at me, held it for 5 whole seconds before I threw it into a trash compactor. That was a fun Tuesday. Thor's combat computer finally rebooted enough to access his tactical database. He pulled up River's profile, and his secondary heart nearly stopped. River Cross, former Earth Special Operations. Freelance problem solver. Wanted by 16 governments, employed by 12 more, and credited with single-handedly ending 4 wars through a combination of impossible combat skills and utterly terrifying diplomacy. You're River Cross, he said, his voice dropping to something approaching reverence. The Peacemaker. Some call me that, she shrugged. Others call me the Devil's Daughter, the Ghost of Titan, or that crazy human lady who won't die. I answer to all of them. She glanced around the bazaar where station security was finally arriving to clean up the mess. You've got good instincts, Thor. That warning shot saved my life, even if I didn't need saving. You knew my name. I know everything worth knowing. River turned to leave, then paused and looked back over her shoulder. That kiss? Consider it a thank you. If you ever need backup on a job, look me up. I like working with people who shoot to warn instead of shoot to kill. She walked away, disappearing into the crowd with the casual confidence of someone who knew that the universe would move aside for her. Thor stood in the center of the bazaar, surrounded by unconscious pirates and stunned witnesses, and realized that the Galactic Council was right. You should never underestimate a human's capacity for the impossible, especially when that human was River Cross.